Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Crowd Chatter podcast. So, today is going to be a very special video. Um, you probably noticed it's a bit of a different setup today. Looks a little different. That's really because it is. um, I'm not at my house today. I am back at the parents' place because our house is out of power again. You might remember this from last year. I think there was a video I did last year for this, I'm pretty sure. Or maybe that was for the draft. I don't remember. I was over here and I was doing stuff here also then. Similar situation today, so we're back here for videos. Um, Today we're going to be going into week 0 of college football. That's right. We're back for games and we're gonna be going strong here, guys. It's been a hot minute, and we're gonna get into and we're gonna go back into some games this week. So you guys know how these videos normally work. I don't have Sam or Sobensky here with me. I'll probably get their picks at some point. We don't really count this week towards our actual total for the season because it's week 0. Like, who really cares? It's mostly a bunch of meaningless games, except for one. There actually is one this year that's pretty good. But other than that, they're mostly meaningless games. It's only 5 of them. This is really worth, counting this towards our record for the year. Not really. So, um, we're not really counting this towards the season total. It's just for fun that we do this. And you know how these go. There's a lot. That's a little refresher in case you guys don't remember how these work. These are basically carbon copies of College Game Day on ESPN, which will have Lee Corso actually retiring um, at the Ohio State Texas game in Week 1. It will be his final broadcast. It's been a long time coming. We'll hate to lose you, Lee, but it was time. Um, but we try to cater this pretty much towards that and make it very similar to that. Which we have adopted our own kind of names for stuff and whatever. And you guys know the routine. We start with Shockers of the Week, our version of the super dogs that they have on there. Um, we will basically go by someone actually pulling an upset as opposed to them where they go just simply by covering the spread. My shocker this week, because Kansas State Iowa State is much too close of a game, is Fresno State over Kansas. It's a 12.5 point line. Fresno State's a solid team. I certainly could see it happening. There's only 5 games this week. Didn't really have a lot of choices. I went with that one. That's my shocker for this week. For picks, I'm not going to really take much time with this, guys, because there's just 5 games. And I'm trying to squeeze this in really quick because the Tigers are going to be on soon. As you can tell, I'm wearing Tiger gear. They're going to be on soon. I don't want to miss that. So I'm trying to squeeze this in really quick here. And like I said, it's only 5 games. So really, it's not going to take that long, especially since it's only me. So, like I said, not really a week that it really makes that much of a difference. I mean, it just kind of gets you, the urge for football back on again. But other than that, there's not really much to be said. Our first game on here, though, I include this because it technically is a FBS. This is an FBS program. It's Idaho State on the road taking on UNLV. The beginning of the Alex Orgy era in Vegas. I'll take UNLV. They're the FBS program. Idaho State is not. So I'll go with UNLV. Next, we have Sam Houston State going on the road taking on Western Kentucky. Both of these teams are actually good last year. Western Kentucky, I think Sam Houston State had a really good year last year. Western Kentucky was okay. I don't know what Western Kentucky has at the QB spot, which is normally what makes them good. Um, I'll just go with Sam Houston State. This is one where I'm really not paying too much attention to a lot of these. Stanford going on the road to take on the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors comes up next. As I said, guys, it's gonna be a quick video. We're already halfway through the picks, pretty much. Stanford is a Power 4 program. They're a power team. Hawaii has been a mess for years now. Not that Stanford is really, that good, but considering as Hawaii, I feel like they should be able to win. If they don't, that'd be a little scary, especially if you're a Stanford fan. But I feel like, yeah, they should be able to beat Hawaii. And now we have the good games of this week. These are the ones that actually, watching should be a joy and actually should be fun. Both of these, the second ones, but the other one specifically, but even this one as well. I picked it as my shocker. Fresno State will go on the road to take on Kansas. So Kansas's stadium is going to look a lot different this year. They did a huge makeover of the whole entire facility or the whole entire stadium, completely, pretty much demoed almost everything and completely rebuilt it. They've huge makeover of it, looks so much better. And so this will be pretty much the grand reopening almost of that stadium. Fresno State, just good group of five program, consistently one of the top teams in the Mountain West. They'll actually be joining soon the Pac-12 eventually. We'll see when that ends up becoming the case. I think it's in a couple years. I know they've joined. I just don't know when they will officially be a Pac-12 member. Soon to be. This is always a good team. They always make some noise, which should make this game very entertaining. And I think it will be close. But I'm going to give the edge to the Kansas Jayhawks. I think they're just a little bit better. I think Fresno State's going to give them a run for their money. They always give the Power Four programs runs for their money and make things difficult for them. But I don't think Fresno State will have just enough to get past Kansas. So thus why you see me taking uh, the Jayhawks here in a tight one. And then our last one here, which is a mouthful here, the game of the week, our Aer Lingus College Football Classic, which happens to be a rivalry known as Farmageddon. It's Iowa State and Kansas State, number 22 versus number 17. They'll be out in Ireland for this one. This is a noon ESPN game. This one actually is going to be very good. Um, Definitely surprised to be seeing a rivalry game like Iowa State and Kansas State be all the way in Ireland, but both of these teams actually have a pretty solid amount of talent coming back for them this year. As for Kansas State, their quarterback, well, actually, I think for both teams, their quarterback returns. They also have a pretty good running back from last year. Kansas State does. They're also bringing back. Good players that they had from last year that are coming back this year. They did lose their top running back. DJ Giddens has moved on to the NFL, but they have the Colorado transfer and Dylan Edwards, who does return. He was pretty good for them last year. I think he'll slot into the top role just fine. Their number one receiver returns. Definitely more returning for Kansas State, I'd say, probably than what Iowa State has returning. I know their quarterback, of course, will also be back in Rocco Becht. But really, other than that, I have no idea what this team still has left. They do have a running back from last year returning who did have 13 touchdowns, so that does end up working pretty well. I remember that both their top receivers are gone. So, finding a new option for their quarterback could be interesting. We'll see. Definitely, I think Iowa State has more returning in the run game. Kansas State might have a bit more returning in the passing game. They're very evenly matched teams. Really picking one of them is going to be very difficult. It really depends on really what QB you like better. Because honestly, I think this is going to be neck and neck, and they'll be tight all the way. I'll go with Kansas State, though. I do think that they just have a little bit more in them. I mean, with Iowa State, you had two 1,000 yard receivers, and they're both gone. Ironically, both in Houston now. And as for Kansas State, yeah, you lost your top running back, but you have a guy who has starting experience behind him and was pretty good for Colorado as well. So I think Kansas State both these teams are definitely missing people, and their QBs are going to have to, adjust to new realities, losing a couple guys. But I think Kansas State will be able to edge out the Cyclones. I could very well see it go the other way. I could see the Cyclones taking out the Wildcats, but that's the beauty of a rivalry game like this. It'll be neck and neck, and it'll be tight, and it'll be fun. Great way to start off the college football season. It's just kind of an appetizer, but this is a pretty good appetizer game. I'm gonna be honest there. But that's all I got for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Um, as I said, quick video, not much happening. So yeah, that's all I got, and I'll see y'all next time. Until then, adios, everyone.